Hello and welcome back for one more time of Python 0. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep up with my episodes. Usually I keep releasing them more frequently, but I think you might forgive me in case that I tell you now that I've been quite busy these days, and to be honest, I'm very happy to make this tutorial today. I really enjoy it, showing you guys some stuff. Now, today I have a really important topic. I will be talking about classes. Last time I talked about functions. I will reference a lot from that, but today I will give you an introduction of how to use classes, and I really try to cover most important stuff. My videos tend to get longer for that reason, but there are so many short, brief videos, and I try to be complete. I think most people, tutorials, they're quite brief. I don't like that. We want to be complete here. You define a class in Python by this, and then you simply give it a name. Okay, and here we go. This is already enough. We have to type here something pass because there must be something, and it's just meaning. It's kind of like do nothing. We will also, for this video, create this temporary whatever. Usually use this if name equals main in scripts, where when you execute it as the main script, then this here will be run, otherwise it won't. And what we will do is we will simply instantiate the class here. Okay. This is instantiation, and then you have the object in the hand. Okay, let's print it also. I think we want to see that we actually did something. So let's run it here in the shell, and as you can see, okay, it recognized, it created the object, and that's everything. You want to maybe create this this object with some default values. I don't know, you want to give it some arguments. And now comes the first important thing to note. Every function within a class has to start with self. You have never to give this argument, really never, but this is kind of like when you reference now values or you want to assign them, like self.value equals value. Now we assign this class a value. And also, I noted it a lot in the last video, please do documentation, okay? It's also very important when you do a class, and also do the docs for the functions here, okay? I won't do this, and of course, in full here in my tutorial, but I want to remember you, watch a previous video if you haven't watched it. Documentation is crucial for everyone. As you can see here, you already get this note by Visual Studio Code. A really nice job they did here. What you want to do is, you cannot instantiate it this way. You have to pass it now here a value in, and it will assign to itself's memory. Let's just pass in 5, okay? And it will really not change anything. It will create the object, but what you can do now is you can do dot value, and here we self are we ourselves, and here we are my class is kind of the self here, and then we can access the value by this. In most programming languages, here you can see the 5. This won't be possible because the variables here are usually hidden. Python has no privacy. It's kind of like, I don't know, who wants to live in a world without privacy? I wouldn't, but sometimes it's also very comfortable if you don't have to watch the privacy of other people. Yeah, let's stay that aside. You can also do more functions like this add function. And I don't know, let's pass in, oh yeah, I already broke the first rule, do the self in. Let's pass in also a value, and let's return self.value plus value. Okay, and here we go. We simply call add, and then we add, I don't know, 10. Here we go, 15. Okay, so that's the way it's working. I always pass in the self. Now comes something really nice. We can do operator overloading. So I think it was add. And what you can pass in here is, for example, yeah, it's also some value, and then really funny, you can do stuff like this. Here we go. I hope it is working that way. Okay, so my class plus 10. As you can see, this plus here is overloaded for this my class, and then it's just taking in this value like a function and it adds it. This is kind of like, if you've seen one of my previous video, this plus operator here is actually just a function which is called by the engine, and this is just let's say more comfortable wrapper for these functions. So you can also do operator overloading here, but it's quite unclean here. We usually should have to check what value is so we don't get some errors unnecessarily. And yeah, if you really want to do it clean, usually what you do is you only let this add operator kind of for I don't know, we want to assert here that that we're of the same instance. I don't think I need the brackets. That the value here is of instance my class 2, and then you can simply do something like return a new my class instance, which simply has as value self.value plus oh, let's call it my class 2 here. This is so confusing otherwise. Here we go. We pass in this here, and we simply take in the value of this one here. And this is much more clean, for example. I really recommend it. And if we run the code now, it says assertion error because these two, my class is a value. And what we can do here, we can pass in this my class 2, and it will run through. We will get a new class object, and quite easy. You just simply surround it by brackets, so you have what is coming out, and you do dot value, and this should already do the job. And as you can see, yeah, we just created a new my class object with value 15. This is really like how classes work, how you can wrap your data in these classes. Now I want to show you one more functionality, which I also like. It's not so clear in the beginning why you should use something like that, but let's say you want to have a function add 2, and we take in a value 1 and a value 2, and we simply return a value 1 plus value 2. So here we go. And the problem is you can already recognize I didn't define the self. If you want to have a function which is accessible, here we have to instantiate the class first. But if we want to just have a function for this my class, which you want to call here without having to instantiate it, most people will ask why. Simply you could save it just here, like def add, and define then here the function and so forth. Sometimes it's comfortable that you want to have a wrapper here. So what I once did in a software, I had also this add operator, and the comfortable stuff is when you want to use it for the function for the instance, you didn't have to change the name, but sometimes it did function a little bit different, but it was still in the same container, and then it's quite comfortable if you do this. Now a static method, like I said, it is accessible by the class here, not by the instance. You don't need the instance to create here, and you can simply just yeah, just let me wrap this in a print statement. 1, 2, let's add this one here, and let's delete this one here, and let's simply run it. As you can see, 3 is the outcome, which is correct, at least at least for my arithmetic skills. Usually I let the computing by the computer, of course, and therefore it's done. Now this is a class, it's just a container which contains data. Sometimes it also contains, I don't know, a list or more stuff. Yeah. It's just you can put a lot of stuff in here, and you can assign operators and functions which just manipulate this data. Okay, so this is really what a class is for, and it kind of protects usually also the data. So my first best practice for you guys is don't do evil stuff like accessing these data values here directly. What is much more clean usually is you define a get or a set function. Again, today is not my day. Okay, every day is my day, and at the same time it is not. Here we go. You simply access the value here. That's everything you need to know. Yeah, when you want to set it, usually you do something like set value, and then you say, okay, please set it to a new value, and that's it. I hope it is still running. Yeah. So the clean way in order to manipulate data in here is usually by functions, because sometimes you change this data types inside, for example a list to a map, or I don't know. It happens more frequently, and when you have these functions you simply need to write only these functions and not the whole source code, okay, because these are kind of like clean interfaces. You know what's getting outside of these functions usually. And believe me, one thing which my father also taught me, most people think fancy algorithms are kind of like the magic of computers, but I think what's more important than algorithms is usually the data structure. The data structure is the core of everything. The best algorithms won't work on bad data structure. Data structure is, if you can't, crouch, you shouldn't try walking. It's just the fundamentals of everything. Don't screw it up. When you screw it up, nothing will work. None of your good ideas. Okay. So this is kind of like how classes work. Now let me show you guys maybe a few hacks. Like I said, I don't only want to show you the really nice stuff. I also want to show you the more advanced stuff, because there is not much to mention for classes usually, but I think that one of my favorite hacks is, for example, you instantiate it just this way we always did. And I sometimes had trouble kind of finding out what is inside, and it does not work for everything. But these attributes here, you usually access them by dot value like this, okay? But what is really cool is in the rear of the programming environment here, it is just a dictionary, okay? And you can access the dictionary here with underscore underscore dict underscore underscore, and let's clean this and then print it. And as you can see, it's just a dictionary where you can manipulate not only the names but also the values both at once, which is awesome. Yeah. So we can, for example, do a dictionary where we simply assign it new variable values, for example 33 here, okay? And just watch this. This is the old dictionary, and then we simply assign it a new. Here we go. We simply need to override this new vars, and then I will show you the old value variable here is called value, okay? And thereafter we override the old dictionary and try to access it, and as you can already see, it is failing because it says there is no attribute value inside. And when you watch the dictionary again, which is in the memory, yeah, this is the first one. This is the new one. You have this value 2 only inside. And here we go. You can simply access the value 2. And then you get out what we did here. So you can override with this dictionary, kind of like the internal variables entirely. This is one of the evil hacks which I've encountered, and it's quite useful if you use JSON, for example. I don't know, import JSON, and when you JSON data, you can simply, when you save a class here and you don't want to use pickle, you can kind of dump the dictionary of the class here, and later when you reread it, you get it back as a dictionary and you can assign it to a class. So you can kind of like save a class as variables from this dictionary. This is kind of like one of the tricks, because by default, this object is not JSON serializable. Oh, I really should look up the word in the dictionary. It sounded so horrible that even I, yeah, was quite shocked what I just said. Okay, here we go. This is kind of like the way to go. This is one of the hacks, which I usually prefer. I used it once. Quite comfortable hack. I think this is almost everything you need to know. Please document your stuff. Like always, write clean wrapper functions. Okay. Use static methods if you really need to. I think it's worth mentioning. And yeah, one more thing. Come on. I think it is. Oh no, we will leave this one out. I think it's too unuseful. So here we go. This is the video. If you like it, like it. If you like it more, subscribe it. And have a nice day, guys.